Hey, what's up? It's Bro2. Yeah, just making this video, I guess, because, well, first of all, this is my first time that my Cleric is
we're gonna run down there, run back here, run back there.
Doing TDQ. So I got enough hit, and I've got the gear. It's like bare minimum, but I got it, so I was like, I'm gonna go do it. The day before this TDQ, I actually did a Intrepid Drown Halls, and that went pretty well. I healed every fight except for the last fight because we needed a purifier, and I don't have purifier right now, so all the other fights I was in Sentinel. You know, and it kind of, this video really, I'm making it because kind of to show, I guess, that even in like really crappy gear, like a fresh 60 Cleric can easily pull, you know, the bare minimum. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, 10k. That, I remember when people were offended, like, what, you want, you know, people to do 10k in a, you know, in a raid, like, you know, like, that was kind of, some people had problems with that. They're like, isn't that a little excessive? Like, no, it's not. Well, you can look at my numbers. It's a fresh 60. I think I only have 3 pieces of the dungeon gear set, so I only have enough for the spell power bonus, the 60 spell power. So I'm missing the 100 spell power that you would get from the Inquisitor crystal. You know, I'm pulling decent numbers in it. The spec, it's Inquisitor, it's not hard. I think the only hardest thing about it is really just the dark water, making sure it doesn't fall off. To compare it to another caster, the mage, I would say Inquisitor is, it's easier than Pyromancer, but harder than Necromancer, slightly easier than Warlock, but you know, I mean, it's got some pretty good utility. Got some, you know, it's got the run speed, it's got the interrupt, purge, fears, stuff like that. So it's pretty useful, and it's a range spec. So you know, most people, they play casters and like they hate melee, or they just straight up they are afraid of being in melee or something. But it, you know, I'm always confused whenever I see, you know, people in raids, you know,
I'm taking it first.
At least 10k, you know, single target, and I'm like, you know, what are they, like, what's so hard? I don't get it. I don't understand it, because, you know, as you see here in blue gear, pulling, you know, 13k single target and some AoE here, and you see that I kind of figure out, I got a macro with it. It's Tyranny of Death, and then below that is what's that, the other AoE, 2-second cast time, whatever it's called, and then is Circle of Oblivion below that. So, and you can just tap around, and if Tyranny of Death is not on something, you know, you can apply it. So there's no cooldown in Tyranny of Death. It's just that you can't, you know, once it's already on a target, you can't place it again. So you could just, you know, in AoE, you just tab around and put it on multiple targets, and once it blows up, it does some pretty good damage. So it's not hard at all. I mean, not that it's an AoE spec, but, you know, if you're doing AoE for whatever reason, you know, trash and stuff, it's not hard. So, and, you know, I'm saying this about, you know, clerics. Well, I got my warrior too. He just hit 60 last week also. He's not geared for raids yet. He's about 20 hits short. He's like 390 something. So almost there. As soon as I get the hit, you know, I'll get a video up so you guys can see exactly how much, you know, what my DPS is and stuff like that. you know, which, like I said, you know, the point is, like, I'm confused by so many times where you're in a dungeon and you see people failing to do, you know, 5K, 6K, you know, they're just like, what? Are you going AFK? You know, you throwing dots on the target and then going AFK? Like, how? I don't get it. I mean, I understand people are casual, you know, but it's, you know, there's a difference between being casual and just not giving a damn, you know? I mean, it's really no other way to put it. So, in case you're wondering, my none of my gear has runes on it. You're probably saying, oh, well, you know, you're already you know, you got your rogue and you got your mage and stuff, and they're rune crafters, and you sell runes on the auction house. You just, you know, made yourself a set and gave it to, you know, Kelm, and, you know, so he's running with full best of slot. The only thing that I have given from my other tunes to Kelm is his essences, and they're lesser essences. I don't have the greater essences. I don't have the cape either. I'm talking about, you know, the Torvin essences. I don't have the Torvin cape. I do have the lesser essences, but there's no runes. You know, either just regular crafted ones or the notoriety. I don't have any of the runes on. I do have. You can see I'm maxed out in this video. That I've maxed out my planar attunement. So there's, you know, that is giving me an edge up. But why, you know, people don't pull at least 8K in a 5-man, you know? It's confusing to me. You know, it's not difficult. I mean, if anything, I find it more fun. I mean, yeah, there is the argument that people are like, oh yeah, well, you know, there are casuals, and not to hate on casuals, but it's really not so much their fault. Really, it's the fact that the game doesn't have anything built into it to show them exactly, you know, how good or how bad they are doing. You know, and that is true. I mean, there's no, you know, meter in the game that tells them like, oh, you should be aiming for this, or, you know, where they can compare themselves to each other and this and that. You know, they would have to go and download the stuff, look it up first of all, and then download it. But still, you know, it's kind of like, Jesus, you know, like it still confuses me, like,
right?
That I don't know. I guess it's been such a long time since I've been surrounded by that kind of casual group that I don't understand why they are, you know, that way. Maybe I used to be in some pretty casual guilds. I didn't start raiding until like a couple months after Hammernail came out, and it was, you know, through pugs. I was doing the 10-mans and whatnot, and then eventually I worked my way up into Hammernail content, just pugging it. I didn't raid with a guild. I was in a guild, but we didn't raid. You know, I mean, there was a couple of people who did, but it wasn't something that we scheduled or anything like that. We were just, you know, really cool friends. We jump in game, you know, go do dungeons, go do zone events, PvP, you know, or just, you know, sitting in Meridian shooting the shit. So that's kind of where I came from when, you know, way back then. And I guess maybe I don't, you know, maybe I just don't, I don't remember what it was like, or maybe I'm just being a little harsh, but, you know, I mean, even when I was leveling, I back then we didn't have the add-on API. We just had the combat log and act. I still have act. I still use it. It's just that it's very rare that I use it because it actually kind of. There are times where it just seems to spike and cause the game to lag or to. It has an effect on the CPU. Every now and then it jumps up, but even then I had that, and that was really because I was interested in how the game worked, and I wanted to see what I was doing and see what affected it and stuff like that. For me, that's kind of a form of entertainment. So I maybe I was always kind of that way, and it kind of leading to why I don't understand how these people can gear up for raiding, go into raiding,
natural splendor there.
and then not find
Just,
themselves disappointed
Void Life?
because they say, oh yeah, I'm good to go into raiding, and then underperform and not meet what's needed and be okay with it. They're like, oh, well, I think we got it, a couple more pulls. No, we don't got it. There's a set number that we need and we don't have it right now. And I got my Cleric fresh 60, got the gear, got into the raid, pulling numbers that some people just have a problem with pulling. Anyhow, I guess that'll be
can you repeat
that'll
that,
be it
Sorry.
for this. I'm thinking of doing some more videos, trying to get more out. I'm thinking maybe I might monetize them. Might actually start doing YouTube videos like as an actual thing, rather than just being like, oh yeah, every now and then I post videos. But I think, and I'm also thinking about maybe even going into streaming, but I do need better internet, so that might be a little while, but we'll see. So anyhow, yeah. A little later.
I got